This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 321 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by TotalSaddleFit.com and EcoVet Fly Repellent. Tonight, we're really excited. We've got Laura Graves, obviously from the U.S. gold medal winning team at the Pan Ams. We've got Clair McNulty, a junior gold winning young rider, and Louise Denizard is going to give us our Total Saddle Fit trainer tip of the week.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. Hi, guys.
Hey, and we have
Glenn
tonight.
Yeah.
Hi, Glenn.
Hey, guys. Hey, before you get into the show, I got to ask you guys, Uncle Jimmy sent us all some licky things. Did you guys get your licky things?
Absolutely. Got my lucky thing in the mail. It wasn't so exciting for me, but the horses were excited.
I got to tell you, we put it in with Scooter, my little rescue hackney pony, and he did not stop for hours. They're in the stalls during the day because they're too fat and they're just eating themselves to death. So we have them in the stalls during the day with no food. They're on the diet, and he just, for hours, I came out, his face was covered.
It is so true. And actually, I got my licky thing from Uncle Jimmy's at the perfect time because my sweet Denali was on stall rest for 2 weeks. He had an injury, and he's going to be all right, I hope. But he'll be okay. But he was so happy to have his licky thing. I was so excited to give it to him. And he was like, same thing, hours, had it in his mane, like in his ears. Like he was like, this is the best thing ever, Mom. So it was really good. So we
It's a little messy, but I mean, for the horse's enjoyment, I think it's totally worth it.
You know, you're supposed to hang it. It comes in a holder. It's a treat that's in a holder. Everybody, I think, has seen them at the stores. And you're supposed. A lot of people make the mistake of hanging them along the wall. You're supposed to hang them in the middle of the stall or middle of the area because you don't want them being able to pin it along the wall. It becomes the chewy thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had it there.
Becomes the bitey thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I had it there. I'm not going to lie. I was that person to put against the wall. And then one of my students came in and said, oh, you shouldn't do it. You should hang it against the wall. So it became this hangy, swingy thing that was like...
That's right. And then it hits him in the head on the way back.
It was so funny. I was like, oh, he had a big time with it. It's perfect. If you have a horse on stall rest, highly recommend it because for everybody's enjoyment.
And they come in different flavors, too. They're like peppermint and apple and different ones. You can buy refills for the little holder thing. There's really good. Uncle-Jimmy's.com. Yeah.
I was just going to say that I really like that it's included, it's got little vitamin pellets in there. So they're getting their vitamins along with eating, getting their boredom relief.
Yeah. No, it's great.
And he has
hanging
balls, too. And he has the Uncle Jimmy's hanging balls, and he has the sugar-free version of those. So if your horse has a problem with sugar, you can actually get the sugar-free version of those.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Thanks, Uncle Jimmy. He's a cool guy, too, by the way. Uncle Jimmy's I've met him several times, had dinner with him many times. He is the funniest guy, as you would tell by the names of his products. I mean, who else puts a product out called the Pecker Wrecker?
I'm sorry. I've been laughing about the hanging balls.
Did you guys ever see the Pecker Wrecker?
What?
It is. It's a chicken treat. It's for chickens, and they peck at it, and that's how I got the name Pecker Wrecker.
Thanks, Glenn.
Oh, God. It is a family show. So on today's show.
It's true. That's the name of it. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just worried where this is going, ladies and gentlemen. So, Phil, tell us what's in the news.
No, you got to tell us how Young Riders was because you came back for the Pan Ams and went, you got Young Riders Week. So give us a little talk about, were you there? What was going on in Kentucky for the week?
Yeah. So as always, it was really a busy week. I have to be honest, as the week progressed, I went to the horse park less. I did not have a young rider this year, but a lot of friends were in town. So I got to touch base with a lot of people. And I was it was a big, busy social week for me personally.
Every week is a busy social week.
I'd like to think that, but I'm kind of boring. But it was fun. I had a lot of friends in town. Phil, we had a lot of friends in town, so it was fun to kind of get together with them and see how their students were doing. And as we all go through this, we start to root for our friends, kiddos as well. So that was a lot of fun. There was a meet and greet at the USDF office on Monday that I went to. I was sort of meeting all the kids and just a fun event. And they had just come back from their golf cart. All the golf carts were decorated, and it was a lot of fun. And
that's a good event down there.
It is, and it's Briar Fest.
It's not such a serious dressage event. I mean, it's serious when the couple.
Briar Fest was at the same time.
Yeah, Briar.
Oh my God!
You know anything about that?
Tens of thousands of screaming teenagers show up.
Really?
Yes.
I have to be on. Oh yeah, that's why I didn't personally go to the horse park that many times during Young Rider Week, because I didn't have a kiddo there. Briar Fest is really fun, but it's really busy. So there's a lot of kiddos that come. So if you have a kiddo that's interested in, in the sport and likes Briar horses, it's an awesome time to come to Kentucky. But it's a lot of kids, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's get to the results. I have to apologize if because I will butcher names just because.
That's why we gave Phil this job.
Because we're going to butcher him.
Somebody has to do this job. So
and it's Phil.
We're really proud of you. We're sorry if we get your name wrong. Our junior dressage team championship. I'm going to bring this up first because Canada, Team Ontario won gold. So congratulations. I think we talked a little bit about this last week because the results just came out. Silver went to Region 7 and bronze to Region 9. Our individual dressage championship, gold went to Clair McNulty, who is going to be on the show in a little bit. So if you hang out, we can hear all about her young rider experience and her horse Checkmate. Silver went to Camille Carrier-Bergeron on her horse Delfino, and Chloe Taylor won bronze with Collecto V. Gold in the junior dressage freestyle championship went to Bebe Davis and Rotano. Silver, Claire McNulty, who will be on the show, and silver to Camille Carrier-Bergeron, who is Canadian, on her horse Delfino. Let's go to Young Rider Dressage Team Champions, whereas gold Region 7, silver Region 3, bronze Canadian team from Alberta / British Columbia. Congratulations. Young Rider Individual Dressage Championship, gold went to Natalie Pye with Fritz Santino. Silver to Catherine Chamberlain with Avisto van Velterverden. That's a very German name for a horse.
Well done.
Avisto van Velterverden. Bronze to Naema Moriera La Liberté. I hope I'm doing a good job with Belafonte.
That's a tough one.
It's hard. Young Rider Dressage Freestyle Champion was Naema Moriera La Liberté with Belfonte. Hannah Bauer won silver with Trustful. That's a nice name, Trustful.
Yes, Trustful.
I hope he lives up to his name. And bronze went to Kerrigan Gloch with Vaquero HGL. This must be a Hampton Green farm horse.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done, everybody.
Riders. That's at least it wasn't so hot in Kentucky for this championship this year.
It got a little bit hot, but honestly, the team day was it was almost cool. I have to be honest, that day I almost put a jacket on. So they had fluctuating weather, but really, when it came down to it, it wasn't that bad. So congratulations to everybody. It was fun to have everybody in town and see some friends. And as always, we love it. And congratulations to everybody. And
I have to bring up one extra thing before, because
yes,
it just happened at the Pan Am Games that Canada won gold in show jumping. So
yeah,
I know that's not what our show is about, but I love it.
Exactly. Well, congratulations to Canada. We are always excited for you guys as well. So right after this commercial break, we're going to come back with America's superstar, Laura Graves. She was great and super generous with her time tonight, and we get to talk with her about her experience at the Pan Am Games.
Wouldn't Wouldn't it be wonderful if your horse could enjoy a zone of repellency from pesky flies? Well, he can with EcoVet. EcoVet is an entirely new type of fly repellent that is safe for horses and those applying it, offering a real alternative to toxic pesticides like pyrethrins. EcoVet confuses an insect's normal directional ability, the bug's GPS, if you will. So if it can't locate your horse, it can't bite your horse. Dr. Wendy Ying from the Driving Radio Show has been using it in South Florida, also known as the Jurassic Park of biting insects, and she just loves it. EcoVet's active ingredients are naturally occurring food-grade fatty acids that have been clinically shown to improve the condition of horses with difficult-to-treat sweet itch problems. EcoVet is effective on mosquitoes, ticks, no-see-ums, as well as flies. You can visit EcoVet online at eco-vet.com for more information or to order. You can find EcoVet at Dover Saddlery Stores and EcoVet's on Facebook. Just search EcoVet, EcoVet.
Well, we are so honored tonight to have Laura Graves, America's superstar. She's been a great supporter of the show, on to talk about her experience at the Pan Am Games. Laura, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, everybody. I'm good tonight. We're finally home, so it's an awesome time to catch up.
I love it. Well, Laura, you have been on the road a really long time. Can you tell everybody a little bit? Yeah, a long time. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your preparation for the Pan Ams and where you've been traveling to?
Sure. I'm calling myself a gypsy now, and I just feel like I live out of suitcases and packed trunks, and my horse and I just kind of haul all over the country or wherever they need us. Yeah, but we have been on the road a long time. I think I left home with my horse the beginning of April. So it's been about 4 months, I guess.
Oh, wow. That is a gypsy.
Yeah, since I've been home. And that trip started, I learned last year that you have to keep your training separate from your competition. And if you're planning on increasing your competition scores, it's important to spend that time training. So I spent a few weeks in Florida with Debbie McDonald, my trainer, before she left Florida for the season. And then she met me in Las Vegas for the World Cup, which I was selected for along with Stefan Peters for our league. And we had made the decision after I qualified for World Cup to ask for a bye from the European Tour, which was kind of being required for athletes who wanted to be in contention for the Pan American team. But I thought that coming from Florida, where we're based, and having the opportunity to do World Cup, I didn't feel like it was in my horse's best interest to then go Florida, Las Vegas, Florida, Europe, Florida, Canada,
Whoa.
Florida. So, so it can get kind of hectic, and you really have to look at the long-term scheme of your travel plans. And thankfully, we were given that bye. Because we scored well in Las Vegas.
You had a really nice ride, by the
well.
way.
You were awesome. Yeah. Wait, we were there too. And wait, let's just
Reese and I were there. We were watching and cheering you along.
It was wild. I have to say, that's like...
It was wild, yeah.
Yeah, Vegas is such a good time. I mean, it's a totally different environment, and I highly encourage anybody who gets the opportunity to show at an indoor competition, take it, or even to be a demo rider, whatever it is such a different atmosphere, and it's a real thrill. I mean, you may not have the best score of your life, but it's such a training opportunity, and the adrenaline is so high. That was really amazing. Of course, my good friend Adrienne Lyle was retiring her team horse Wizard there at the Thomas and Mack Center. So I got to be there for that, which was extremely emotional. And then we kind of hitched a ride with Wizard and Adrienne back up to Idaho to spend the rest of that season where everyone else was in Europe, to spend it in Idaho with Debbie.
Awesome. And tell us about that experience. How long were you there and what was it like there?
I guess I was there from right after World Cup, so kind of the end of April, until July 1st, when we were selected for the Pan Ams and we shipped then to New Jersey. And it was amazing. For me, it's always, there are two sides to it. Number one, it's so incredible to have the opportunity, and I'm thankful for some of my sponsors, like Deloitte, who allow me to kind of take a break from my business and still have the funds to train and to then pay for board for your horse and completely saturate yourself in that atmosphere. Not only did I get more lessons than I normally have time for when I'm also running my own business, but I also, even when Debbie was out of town, someone's always keeping an eye on you. You always have a second set of eyes, and it's, a world-class set of eyes, which really makes a big difference. And in addition to working on my own horse, I get to watch Adrian and Debbie work together every day. I mean, it's such a master class. They go through young horses to completely schooled horses to their amateur clients' horses. And really, it gives you so many tools that you can bring back to your own business and say, hey, you know what? I have a horse who's struggling with that too. I'm going to try that. And so you kind of get all these light bulb moments, and not everybody gets that opportunity to immerse themselves in that.
That's awesome. It sounds like a really wonderful experience. So
Yeah,
from Debbie's, you went to, did you go to Gladstone and met up with the team and did your final preparations?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we flew they were actually, Tim Duda's company was able to get us a flight from right out of Idaho, from Boise, which was convenient. And it was so hot out there. They were having extreme temperatures, 100 degrees. And so we were able to get him a flight from Boise. And of course, I fly with him, and we fly into Newark. So then from Newark, we hauled to the USET headquarters in Gladstone, and we were there with the team for about a week, training together, going through media training, schedules, logistics. All the grooms got to know each other, and it's always an important time. The other riders on the team really had bonded in Europe, and for me, it was an amazing feeling. There were a couple people I didn't know, and it was such an amazing group that just said, hey, Laura, we're glad you're here. And it took no time to get to know each other, and it really is a fun group, and we just got to train and watch each other train, and you really kind of get pumped up, like, okay, guys, we're in this together. We have to go win this gold medal.
Yeah, so there was actually some pressure on you guys to go to Canada. Yeah, just a little bit. So tell everybody what the pressure was and kind of how you guys handled that, even starting in team training.
So I think we were all very aware of the situation going into Toronto, and that situation being that in previous years, the top 4 teams finishing at the World Games, as we did last year, finishing 4th, would then qualify to send a team to Rio or the next Olympics. And unfortunately, this year, they've kind of dwindled those numbers down, and they said, okay, only the top 3 teams from the World Games get to go, and now only 1 team gets to qualify through the Pan American Games. So it kind of put us, unfortunately, head-to-head with Canada, who we're so friendly with. We know they have amazing horses. We're supportive of each other. We spend a lot of time in Florida together.
We're normally friends.
Yeah, whatever,
yes.
Phil.
We're normally
Phil.
friends. Hey, don't.
Phil
Just,
and I
you're my
had-
friends. You're my
we
friend.
were,
I mean,
but
everybody.
I am your friend. But there was an extreme divide when you were riding, and we were totally the obnoxious Americans. I'm just saying. That's all I'm going to say. Whatever, Phil.
You know, everybody has their, you know, you want your country to win, but it was really incredibly bittersweet because we also love the Canadians, and so we were prepared to go and bring home the gold. And of course, our chef Robert Dover does an amazing job of of getting it in everybody's head that we're unbeatable and we've got this and we can do it. And the truth of the matter was that Canada really gave us a run for our money.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
They came to win too. Well done, Phil.
Yeah, and and we, to be honest, I mean, as much as we were trying to be confident, I think it would have been foolish for us to expect that they weren't going to pull out all the stops. But I'll tell you that after their first, after their small tour riders had already gone, we were kind of back pacing the aisle of our barn going, we got to do this. Because without
I'm like,
this gold medal,
we were a little nervous for you in the stands. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure, but some people really thrive under that pressure, and some people don't. And I think it's one of those things that no matter how talented of a trainer or a rider you are, it can sometimes be that thing that determines a team rider from not a team rider. As an individual, if you don't do so hot, you've only let yourself down. But when a team is counting on you, and in this case, an entire country, you really have to be able to stand up under that pressure and perform your very best under that pressure. So it's a specific kind of personality, I think, that's able to do that.
And you guys really did. You were amazing. So, Laura, tell us about, if we could kind of go through your test, tell us about your Grand Prix. How did you feel?
I was really thrilled with the Grand Prix. It was pretty hot weather up in Toronto. I don't know if that's typical for this time of year.
That was hot. That was pretty hot for us.
It was hot?
I think it was the one day of summer, actually. We're sitting in the stands.
3 days of summer,
dying. Yes, it was very, and when you went out, Laura, oh my God, it was so hot. And it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm from the South. It was hot. So.
Yeah.
And you
guys, the Grand Prix, we kind of, I felt like it went really well. We had, of course, been out of the arena since Vegas, and Las Vegas was a really different type of experience. So sometimes you're not just riding the horse, you're riding the environment. And that was kind of what happened in Las Vegas. And my horse was great in the Grand Prix. I thought he had a great test. Unfortunately, I had a little mistake in my ones, which we know in the Grand Prix is a coefficient of 2 and cost us some big points. But the good thing about that mistake, and I love being able to say this, is that it was totally my fault. And so when you come out of the test, you can still be so thrilled with your horse because the mistake was yours.
And the ones were beautiful, right? You just missed, there was a miscount, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I did 13.
Yeah.
And I will tell you guys this, it's a secret, so don't tell anybody. But I under my breath clucked my tongue, and he just, kind of stepped on the gas, and we missed our last 2 changes. So again, like I said, totally my fault, and he was perfect. He was so on in the Grand Prix.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous Grand Prix. It really was. It was great.
Thank you.
So how about your special? How were you? How was that?
The special, I thought, went even better. We knew how close it was after that first day that we really needed to put the gas pedal down. And every single one of our riders tried their best to do that. And, your heart is racing, but my heart races almost harder watching my teammates than it does when I'm riding. But it was, again, really hot. My horse is not a hot weather horse. and he's a big guy. And he, as much as I felt like in cooler weather, that test could have been 80%. I mean, it was just that much. He was so on, and as hot as he was, I put my legs on and he flew. And that's, again, a really great feeling. So to have 2 days in a row, 2 team tests in a row, where we know it counts for so much, he could not have been a better team horse that weekend. He was amazing, and we got all of our ones.
Well, your
Yeah,
ones
I
in the
saw
Grand
that.
Prix
I counted them
were-
for you.
You counted. Your ones in the Grand Prix were actually they were perfect. They
They're
were
really
straight.
good.
It was,
Yeah, it just looked like, what happened?
oh no.
Yeah.
We all do that. It happens, and and Laura, in a lot of ways, it happens to everybody. So I was like, oh no, no.
Crap.
But
It does.
and you and your horse, I mean, that's really what you watch when you see you and Diddy go. It's just beautiful. It's like, I want to ride like Laura when I grow up, and I want to have a relationship with my horse. Really. I mean, you guys have such an amazing relationship. And it just comes out every time you see, your partnership, and it's awesome. So tell us about your freestyle. It's a great freestyle.
Yeah, the freestyle, it's such a fun thing to perform. And after we won that team gold, you just felt this huge weight lifted off your shoulders. And not that you don't care going into the individual, but you just get to have fun. The pressure is on yourself. And if you don't get a medal, that's too bad, but there's no consequence. And so we were just going in to have fun, and I was laughing in the warm-up because he was just taking me around, and I thought, this could be a potentially wild freestyle. I mean, I thought he was really going to be kind of bubbling over the edge, and we're used to, in this kind of stadium environment now, that especially when you're following a rider from the hosting country, in this case, Canada, you kind of are expecting to go into a stadium that's still pretty lit. Maybe there's still some applause going on for that previous rider. Maybe a score just popped up on the scoreboard. And that usually gets my horse pretty excited, in which case I only walk around the perimeter of the arena to kind of keep the lid on. And it just, for some reason, was so quiet when we walked in there. And he didn't get excited, and I didn't really think too much of it until I went to go down center line, and I just did not have any gas in the tank. And it was kind of a shock because he was so wild in the warm-up. Yeah. So something happened in the walk from our warm-up to the stadium, but he still made it through that freestyle. And, the judges' comments were really nice, and we had good marks for our music and choreography. And, on a different day, if it hadn't been such a long week, maybe if I had done something different instead of walking like we normally do. It was the first time we had been in that situation where my horse was so relaxed in a stadium. So I didn't really think to change our game plan. But he was great. He's a horse who never lets you down. And that's a really rare character to find in a horse.
I want to talk just about your freestyle a little bit, because you do a piaffe, like facing the judges right at the end. I mean, that looked really hard to do, and he looks like he's a little bit like, I don't know about this, Laura, and then you just are doing it. What led to the decision to put that into your choreography? Was it just to go for the difficulty factor, or what's
you're
that
kind
about?
of going for the difficulty, shock value. And again, the choreography is that big one. So using your arena and trying to use it in ways that you don't use it in the test. So we see a lot in the test. You always piaffe at X. You always piaffe crossing the center line. So trying to kind of get creative with that. And sometimes it works and you get big marks, and sometimes you fail and you just have to move on and then try to get back with your music. So that's the cool thing about a freestyle, is you can try to make those calls, and they don't always work out, but it's the time where you can kind of play around in a way that you can't in a test.
Yeah, cool. So, Laura, I just wondered if you could talk to us a little bit about sort of the Pan Am Games experience. Did you go to the opening ceremonies, and how did you like riding up here in Canada for all of our Canadian listeners and Toronto, if you ever got into the city or around the area while you were here?
We actually were unable to make it to the opening ceremonies. We had a tough choice. They were going on late the night before we had our first team competition day.
Yeah.
And so we all discussed it, and we ended up staying at the hotel as a team, and we ordered snacks, and we watched the first part of it on TV. But
Nice.
you know, then we
Yeah,
were
it was a shame for the dressage riders
that
that you had to ride the next day.
Yeah, it's a school night. Hate it.
It was a school night for sure. But you know, and you're kind of glad to be in a situation where that's understood. I mean, when you're at these big sporting events, they take the fact that you're an athlete very seriously, and that feels good to be redeemed for what we do. You know, sometimes equestrians are not respected in that way as an athlete. You know, I like to get my 8 hours of sleep, but knowing that that's what's in the best interest of the team. So, yeah, unfortunately, we did miss the opening ceremonies in person, but we were able to watch them together. And I'll tell you, having traveled as much as I have in the past year, Toronto was absolutely amazing. The venue was incredible. I hadn't seen it before all the renovations, but the barns, the horses just settled in so quickly. The stalls were huge. The barns had great airflow from all sides. The facilities were great. Bathroom facilities were easy to get to. The footing was impeccable. Actually, the day our horses arrived, it was pouring down rain. And the very next morning, the footing was 100%. There was not a standing spot of water anywhere. So whatever they've done to improve it was done incredibly well. And the walk from the warm-up, the 30-minute warm-up to the 10-minute warm-up into the stadium just went one right to the next to the next. And it was extremely organized, which you don't find everywhere. I know that seems funny to say with all the rules and the staff and volunteers that go into everything, but we didn't really hit any road bumps at all as far as the facility and staffing and city and all of that went. It was a really smooth trip.
Cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, especially because Phil gets the venue now. You guys, that's where Phil and all his clients.
I'm gonna go ride there next month. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. They've done a really nice job.
Very good. And that's actually what's always nice about the games typically. And it's the same with the Kentucky Horse Park. Now we get to go and enjoy the venue that we had for the WEG, so it's always nice when we kind of all get to
if you're local to it. Yeah.
If you're local.
It's a big plus.
Yeah, it's a huge plus of having the games is it really changes the venues and that type of thing. So Laura, I have to ask, what's next? What are you and Diddy up to and for the next couple months?
For the next couple months, he will be hacking, and we'll just keep him kind of fit, but probably not so much the Grand Prix work. We'll do a lot of cavalettis, maybe get him out twice a day. Sometimes that's a nice thing to do when you're not working so strenuously. And we actually are moving in October, so our barn, our home, and everything. So that will be a big change of pace for us.
Exciting.
And just kind of it is exciting. And
will you tell us a little bit about that?
Year. Our move, yeah. So we just purchased a property, and there's a home on it, and hopefully in the next year we will have a nice completed farm. And so we won't be moving directly into that barn because it doesn't exist yet. But we're moving close by. So we'll get to live in our new house, and the horses will be a few doors down, and until they can move home.
That's awesome. Well,
Congratulations.
Exciting.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
farm owner. If you ever need a glass of wine and talk about farm ownership, you just call me up.
Yeah.
No, that's super exciting for you guys. That's really fun.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
Laura, we can't wait to kind of stay in touch with you on your road to Rio. You guys are great and such a cool pair. And how do our listeners find you online?
Online, I've been on Facebook for a while. You can find me under my normal name, Laura Graves. We also have a Laura Graves page on Facebook. And I've now been informed that apparently Twitter is the way to go. So I'm also
another one.
I can't figure that out. Yeah. I don't know all about that.
Oh, God,
I don't know. I'm trying to get on board with the hashtags and stuff. So I think you can find me on Twitter at Laura Graves Dressage, and it's the same on Instagram.
Oh my God, there's so many. It's so confusing.
There's so many, I know, but don't panic, because I think when I post on one, I'm 99% sure they all post to Facebook.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay, God, thank you. Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to keep up with you guys on the road to Rio.
Thanks, guys.
And well, thanks again to Laura. She's awesome and super fun to have on the show. And I hope everyone enjoyed her interview. And right after this commercial break, we're going to come back with junior individual gold medalist Clair McNulty.
Hi, this is Gina Moronic from Wisconsin, and I am an official Horse Radio Network auditor. It's something I'm really proud to do and to be a part of in a small way, because it's something that I get a lot of information from. The Horse Radio Network and the convenience of the downloadable podcasts means that I can improve my horsemanship skills, my riding skills, or just really enjoy listening to friendly, informative programming whenever I'm driving to work or working on chores or at the barn even. So I hope you find it as enjoyable as I do. If you do, go to horseradionetwork.com and click on the banner to become a Horse Radio Network auditor. For as little as $1 a month, you can be involved in this great thing too and keep it going. Thanks.
Well, I am so excited to have Clair McNulty on the program tonight. Clair, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited to talk.
Well, you are a fantastic young rider. Junior rider from Michigan. And you have been working really, really hard to get to the Young Rider and Junior Championships that was held here in Lexington last week. And I am so happy and excited to report that you won the individual junior test and you were silver in the freestyle. And you rode for my region, our teammates on Region 2. And you just had a fantastic show. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was really, really, really fun.
So Clair, talk to me and Phil a little bit about, you've been preparing for this a long time, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I got my horse. I got Checkmate about a year and a half ago, in December of 2013. I was 13 years old, and I didn't really know how to ride him that well. I was really getting to know him. I was only like a first level rider, so I really spent really about a year really getting to know him. He's a tricky horse in some ways, but in other ways he's not. He's a wonderful horse, beautiful mover, great mind. I really, really like him. He has an opinion about everything, so that can be a tad bit difficult to sort of channel that into what you want. But yeah, I did the championships back in 2014, and I ended up 11th individually and 5th in the freestyle. So I did not totally know how to ride him that well, but he was very, very patient with me and always has been. And it's been a rough journey, definitely. I spent 4.5 months in Wellington this past year. We went down in November of 2014, and we came back at the 1st of April of this year. And it was a really, really steep learning curve for me, and it was very difficult to show, especially in the CDIs down there, while you're working through some training problems, because you can't show how you want to show. To get over the training problems, you sort of have to show like you did before you started to resolve the training problems. So I won't say it was discouraging, but it sometimes wasn't exactly what you wanted, and we definitely had some rough tests, because my horse and I sometimes have problems with our communication, and that resulted in some pretty ugly tests. but we still got good. We still got qualifying scores that were some good, some CGIs. So we were able to still make the team to go for this year. And when we came back from Florida, I had about 3 months where we didn't have any training or anything. He was at home and he just got to sort of chill. I didn't really ride him that much. Just got to chill, and I got my last set of qualifying scores at Waterloo in June, both team and individual, and then after that we moved him to Brad Cutchell's farm in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we're able to work out the kinks a little bit more and sort of get him show ready. And he spent about 3 weeks there. We brought him back there after NAJYRC, and he did great there. And I really think we have a winning combination with the training. I try to train with George as much as I can. George Williams as much as I can, but as you know, he's the youth coach, so he's gone a lot.
Yeah.
That sometimes can be difficult. But so Brad rides him 2 or 3 times a week. I ride him 2 or 3 times a week, and we definitely have a great training combination with him. And we've really been able to make a lot of strides. And we're really able to make some big improvements in a pretty short amount of time in those 3 weeks. Just polish things up a little bit. Before I went to juniors, I was a tad bit disappointed with my 14th place finish in the team test, but I was able to sort of tell myself that I knew we could do better, and I was able to jump 13 spots to gold in 2 days later. And I just had to tell myself that you can do it, your horse can do it, you have to be confident in each other, and we were able to pull it together and do pretty well.
That's huge. I mean, that's a huge jump in the standings. That's fantastic. So, Claire, I just didn't you participate in the winter intensive training program with Lyndon this winter?
Yes, I did.
That's
yes,
fantastic.
I did, definitely.
And how was that? That was a cool experience for you, right?
Yes, it was amazing. I would really recommend it for anyone who's it's their first season in Wellington, because we got to go to all of the big barns down there and got to see the training. We got to go to the Matutes farm down there, and that was amazing watching Juan Matute Senior train and helping Juan Junior. That was super cool. Helping them and watching them. Like they're working with the working students, and got to go to Team and Halton Silsons. That was super cool. Catherine Haddad. There's so many wonderful barns. Oded Shimoni. I mean, it was endless. And actually Holzer was right next to Hampton Green, so sometimes you'd be riding, and sometimes you would be riding, and like the radios would sometimes go over to Ashley's because they're so close. So that was kind of funny. Everything was just so close, and it was so wonderful. I had an instant peer group with all the other witties, and they were all wonderful. They were all pretty cool. We all have pretty similar, we all come from pretty similar backgrounds, and all of us pretty much have the same ambition. So you get along pretty quickly, and you get to know each other pretty quickly too, and get to know all of each other's sort of weird quirks and weaknesses, and you really get to know each other, and it was pretty awesome bonding. We would go out to West sometimes and go watch the show jumping, and we all became pretty close knit group, and it was just wonderful. London was great. She really made a great effort into making sure that we were being taught well, and we had for educational purposes. She set up these wonderful lectures. They were so educational, so cool. Some were like saddle fitting, others were about like wider biomechanics, others of them were like about freestyles. It was just you just can't get that anywhere else. All that put together, it was just wonderful.
So Claire, tell us what's next for you and Checkmate.
Well, now I turned 15 in February this year, so even if I wanted to do Young Riders this year, I was not old enough. This is my second year doing juniors, and I've already won gold and silver, so I will most likely be moving up to the Young Rider division next year. We are not sure if we will try to qualify him for NAJYRC Festival of Champions, European Tour, etc. We don't know that yet. We'll have to see how successful we can make the jump to that. I also have Dressage Seat Medal finals in about a month for 14 to 18 division, and I will probably be showing my first Pre-St. George at sometime this year. So we will see. We will definitely see how that goes. He's been making wonderful progress, and we've been putting the Pre-St. George work for about a solid 9 months. We started a little bit Dressage with him, and it's going great. I think he will be a fabulous Young Rider horse and Brentina Cup horse. He's made for it. He's not exactly the best junior horse. He's quite hot, but those Young Rider tests and those Brentina Cup tests will definitely keep him busy. I'm super, super excited to move up because it's sort of it's sort of like if you go and you sort of do okay at juniors and you move up to Young Riders and you sort of say, oh, we're gonna give this a shot and see how it goes, and instead of going into it knowing that you have mastered the level before, and knowing that you can confidently walk up to the next level and know that it should go okay, and you aren't just jumping into a open ocean.
It's so true. Well, Claire, we can't wait to keep in touch with you and see how you do. So thanks so much for coming on the show, and we can't wait to hear how you do at Seat Medal Finals in a couple weeks. Congratulations. I think you are the reigning champion, right? You won it last year.
Yes, I did. I won 13 under division last year, and I've moved up to 14 to 18. So we will see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, go get them, and we look forward to staying in touch with you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, this week on Total Saddle Fit tip of the week, we have Luis Denizard from Puerto Rico. But quickly, Phil and I want to talk about, everybody knows we love our Total Saddle Fit shoulder relief girth. Love it. And I have to report, one of my questions to Justin a couple weeks ago from Total Saddle Fit was about what do you do with a kind of rotund horse?
A rotund horse. How is that going?
I was just going to report.
Big
Mama is doing great. So
she losing a little weight?
She is. We were, this is a wonderful mare who I rode Grand Prix, and she's been sound, and I just decided this summer I needed a horse for my working student, and I pulled her in, and I asked Justin a specific question, and please feel free to send us any questions for Justin at Total Saddle Fit. He is great and we'll answer any saddle fit question you have. And mine was, I hadn't tried the Meep. Actually, wasn't using my shoulder relief girth, I have to be honest. And she got a terrible rub. And I said, well, let's go ahead and try the shoulder relief girth. And it made all the difference in my little portly mare. And so she has no more rubs. I'm happy to report. And she is looking great. She's losing some weight, and which is a struggle here in Kentucky because we've had so much rain. The paddocks are so green. So she is muzzled all the time. I'm not going to lie. But she's looking great. And it really has made a big difference in her. And that was a new use for the girth. So I just love it. It's just a great product.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that I use, they fit when I put them on, and they continue to fit. And when I need to clean it up for a show or something, it just, the leather is great on it, and it looks brand new always. So thank you to Justin for our shoulder relief girths. The horses appreciate it, and we appreciate not having to kind of search around to find girths that fit or good quality stuff that we're having to not replace all the time. So we appreciate that as trainers, and saves us a bit of money on replacing girths every 6 months. So it's been awesome.
Absolutely. So totalsaddlefit.com, and Justin's fantastic and will answer any questions you have. So enjoy Lou's tip of the week, and we'll be back shortly. Lou, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be back.
Well, you did such a fantastic job on your first trainer tip. We had you on. Love it. It's about half halts. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite one. So we wanted to have you back on, kind of wrapping up the Pan American Games and talking about riding under pressure. Because you had a kind of an event at the Pan American Games. If you can kind of fill us in on how you stayed cool in that event and what happened.
Well, there's a couple of facets to it, for me personally, and I think the best one is that I like some quiet time closer to preparation, where I want to be a bit isolated from the noise and the people talking, and not too much small talk, and try to keep myself from feeling the pressure build.
So are we talking about an hour before you ride, 2 hours before you ride, the morning of?
No, probably about an hour. I think I need
you just
at
sort of
least an
isolate
hour
yourself.
before. Yeah. Not necessarily too far away. I just want to be, just outside the crowd. I don't have to be behind closed doors or anything like that. So
Right.
that's my personal space. And then in addition to that, I prepare myself with a book that I found that works on kind of a sports psychology concept of how to not get caught up in the nervousness and then the tension that comes from trying to perform and do your best, because we all know that we're competitors at heart. So we want to do our best, but sometimes that can backfire and work against you. So keeping that kind of calm. And then I think in the end, I get on Robbie, and he tells me where we're at that day. And I, change what I can, and I accept what's just there.
I'm interested to hear about this book. What are the strategies here that we're talking about, or things that work for you?
Well, it's an interesting book. I actually kind of came across it through the Oprah Winfrey Network, where she interviews people on Sundays. And the book is called The War of Art. And it's about a gentleman who talks about writer's block, and how he describes how to get past writer's block, because he's an author. And in the process of talking about that, I found many correlations to competing in general. He calls, things that work against you, whether it's the voice in your head or people who might make a comment walking by or something. He calls those resistances, and how to work past the resistances. So it's an extremely interesting book, and it works for me. I know that everybody has to find what works for them.
Oh, I think that's a fantastic tip. And I think that's absolutely right. I think when you're getting ready for a big competition, and, we're getting close to sort of regional and championship time, and I think that's a good point. It is just because maybe it works for your friend, it may not work for you, or it may work for your
Absolutely.
trainer, and it may not work for you. And interestingly enough, my sister and I competed together, and we're very different personalities. I'm very type A, my sister's very type B.
And I'm like you, Lou. I need an hour before I ride. Even now, I mean, an hour before I'm to get on that horse. Really, I don't like a lot of activity. Well, my sister liked a ton of activity, so that was always a challenge.
Yeah, I think I'm in that boat. I like to be busy. I like to just sort of distract myself with little things, and usually you can with tack cleaning or braiding or making sure the horse is, because if I just sit around by myself and not talking to anybody, then I tend to sort of internalize and build tension. I just need to go about it like it's any other day, or like I was preparing the horse for someone else to ride it, and then all of a sudden then it's time for me to get on, and I like to have a really sort of a long warm up. That's my isolation time, just me and the horse, not no trainer in my ear, just walking around, making sure that I feel good, the horse has his chance, and then so for me, I just do an extra long warm up, that I'm where I need to be without being pressured for time, and then my coach can come along, and then we can work on the horse and work on some things, but just being busy up to a point, and then horse time. Right?
So,
I think I just get in my bubble with the horse. Yeah.
So, guys, I have a question for you both. Do you guys get nervous?
Without question, I think it's not, there's something wrong if you don't get nervous. It's just a question of what do you do with that nervousness. I think that's what made me seek this, not necessarily this book, but some sports psychology type help, was because in the nervousness, I wanted to achieve so much that I had to learn to control that, because it would backfire on me. I tried too hard. So that nerves are natural. I think that everybody's got to get them.
Yeah, I think for me, for sure. And what really started to work for me is to just identify the nerves and say, there's no way not to be nervous, and just be okay with that, and say, okay, a little extra adrenaline is going to help me if I can channel the nerves the right way. I think that nobody can say, don't be nervous. Don't be, you just tell yourself not to be nervous, then you're going to get more nervous. Or again, that's my way of just internalizing things. And if I just get in my own head about that, this doesn't work. So then, like I said, I need a few distractions, and then I need a quiet time to say, yes, I'm nervous, but here's what I'm going to do with my energy, and here's what I'm going to do with my tension, and here's what I'm not going to do with that. Mm-hmm. And every horse I ride has a specific strategy that I can say, okay, this is what I need to do. If I have a little bit lazy horse, I need to be sharp. I need to have him on the aids. I need to work on this. And then I say, that's how I'm going to spend my nervous tension. And on a different horse, like a really sharp, quiet, a horse that needs to be quieted down a little bit, I'm going to say, I'm going to spend my time on just being quiet and rolling with the gait and just not interfering. And that's it. Just channeling the nerves, channeling the tension into positive energy. That's what that's my mental game with myself, and I think it works really good for me.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and it's, to me, some people are, when they get nervous, they don't want to eat. Well, I'm lucky enough that when I get nervous, I want to eat, so I eat.
Oh, awesome.
I never don't want to eat. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't matter what the situation is. No, I think that's actually really important. I mean, if you do, I have, students that don't want to eat, and that's really bad. You really have to learn whatever it is. It may be, I don't know, a milkshake or whatever. You have to kind of make yourself stay fit and healthy, and whatever.
Have some glucose in your bloodstream, right?
So you don't pass out.
Yeah, you don't need to pass out. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good, and I totally agree with you both. Nerves are normal. I agree. Don't tell yourself not to be nervous, because it just makes you more nervous. And Lou, I think you and I need the very similar. I'm going to read this book because it sounds like you and I are very similar. Because I try too hard, and that's bad too.
Well, it was great. It's by Stephen Pressfield. So, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
All right, I'm writing a note right now as we speak. But I think that's such a great tip, and there's nothing wrong, and I think it's something that we should all think about. And I also did some work with a sports psychologist, and it was great. It was so I have sent people to sports psychologists, and you shouldn't think that's a bad thing. They really can help you. Now I'm lucky enough I can pass that knowledge to my students, but it was really a great a great opportunity that I had. And I would encourage people that if they need to do it, or read or,
Absolutely.
look online. So I think there's a lot of good stuff there. So, well, Lou, thank you so much for your time and your tip today. And we look forward to watching you on the road to Rio. Lou, how can our listeners find you online?
Well, they're welcome to look on my website, www.delantedressage.com. And anytime they're in Palm City, Florida, they're welcome to come visit the farm.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lou.
Okay, great talking to you guys.
Well, as always, we love hosting the shows, and we love your emails and Facebook shout outs. And any question that Philip and I can help you with in regards to dressage, please let us know. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search for Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter @Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on our show, and don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we will talk to you shortly.